Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We've got to talk about episode 6 of The Bachelor, because if you thought these ladies learned their lesson about toxicity, no, you're wrong.
No, that
You're wrong.
was not a lesson that they were going to learn. And Katie says something about like last of the mean girls. And I'm like, nope, Katie, I think that's not the case. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, we are recapping Survivor Micronesia over there with a little rewatch. Find a link in the description to join us over there.
Please, yes. All right, well, we start this episode with the fiery Jesenya and MJ. We got to finish this like 2-on-1, this fight, basically.
Yeah, it's like they are attacking each other with words across this coffee table, right? Mm-hmm. And back at the top, it's kind of a rehash of what we heard at the last episode. Like nothing new is said here. Right. It's like, you're done. No, you're done. Your words did that. No, it was your words that, it's like a lot of that.
Stop talking. It's my turn to talk. And I'm like, I feel like both of y'all have been talking.
Yeah. It feels like the communication lines are open. That's not the issue. Like you're both getting it in. But Matt comes in and he's like, okay, so this is really not what I'm here for.
No. Does he look like this is not his thing? He's like, I am not a fan of conflict. Not a school teacher, not a parent. Like, this is not fun.
Yeah. He's like, nobody mentioned that this was a big part of The Bachelor. Okay, let's get this over with. So he kind of like pulls Jesenia aside immediately. Like, it's not like he's there to mediate anything. He just wants to talk to Jesenia, talk to MJ, and make his decision. So Jesenia, to me, I don't know how you felt generally as this was going along, Sarah, but I kind of got the sense that this was not necessarily going Jesenia's way, because it starts with her really coming hard about MJ is a liar. She lied to your face about the bullying. Mm-hmm. She started everything. And it just felt a little too assertive for me. I was like, oh no, like don't come on too hard. This like narrative doesn't often work on this show.
Well, I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I thought between the two talks, Jesenia presented herself in such a calm and direct way. Yeah. And wrapped it up with, if I'm here, I will be supporting you 100%. Mm-hmm. I thought her delivery was more believable. By the time he talks to MJ has gone on like a emotional journey, and she's quite shook by the time she talks to him. And she didn't seem believable because she was like frenetic. She was like, to have my character question, I just would never I just, I was trying to take the bias out, because I was like, I feel like Jesenia was more believable if you're Matt and don't really know what to go with.
Well, and also, I called Kit out last week for those fake tears, and I got to call MJ out as well, because MJ's like, my biggest fear is losing you. And then she goes, I hate crying. And there's no tears there. Like, she just like kind of puts her fingers on the bridge of her nose, and it's like, that's not crying. Just because you say the word crying doesn't mean you're actually crying.
Yeah. Now, before she talks to him, between him talking to Jesenia and MJ, she's talking to camera. She's starting to lose it. She like has to crouch down and do like a little cry to herself. And I do think that was a real cry right there. And she like stands up, shakes it off, fluffs her hair, and says, I had a weak bitch moment, but I'm back.
Yes. Now, I'm going to try to limit the number of times I say weak bitch, because Jesenia and MJ did not try to limit the number of times they said it.
Went with it. They went with it. It became a theme.
Yeah. But that was nuts when she was like, let me just fluff my hair, as though she's like fluffing any bad vibe. It was like weird, and then she's like, I'm back. Okay, I'm ready. And it's like she's ready to fight now that she's fluffed her hair.
Right. It's definitely a in the bathroom mirror pep
Mhm.
talk. Like that is
Yeah.
something you do privately. I wish I had her hair to fluff. Like that would be my thing. I'd probably be like, let me rub my forehead. Like I don't know what I would do, but like you got to do something to get back into yourself. I get it, but you're like, oh no, it just doesn't make a lot of sense when she's like, I'm here for peace and harmony. And then she's like, I had a weak bitch moment.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and I'm
whoa,
ready to battle. Yeah. It's like,
those two things don't go together.
Yeah, which is it? The other thing I will say that kind of made me nervous for Jesenia was when MJ was, putting on this show and she hates crying and all of this, like I see Matt being like, yeah, my experience with you is very different from this.
Mm-hmm.
And his experience with Victoria was not different from what the girls were telling him. So that's like an easy elimination. Yeah. I've known this girl is a problem. And now all the other women are telling me this woman is a problem. So I'm sending her home. But he's like, yeah, MJ, like you've seemed so great. And I'm like, Matt, I need you this is like the last one. This is well, I thought it was the last one that he needed to like get out of here, So I was nervous that she was going to stay. So I was relieved when he, sits down. Well, first, before he sits down with the Rose, Jesenia and MJ have a debate over what a weak bitch is. And is it someone who cries or is it someone who lies? It's like...
Right. Right. I mean, all of it sounded true. Not a great lady would lie. Not a great lady talks about, puts other people down. But the fact that Jesenia is like, you always preach about weak B energy. I was like, because at first I was like, how does Jesenia even know what weak B is? Like, I just heard it from MJ. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently MJ says it a lot, enough for Jesenia to know this is your thing, actually. And I was like, I thought it was peace and harmony.
Yeah, right.
No, it's a weak B or bad B, because she also said, okay, I'm coming in as a bad B. And I was like, okay.
It just like gets exhausting, and like I was very relieved when Matt like walked back in and broke it up and just gives the speech, and he kind of says like a similar thing to MJ that he said to Anna, where it was just like, you're not part of this journey anymore, sorry. And he gives the rose to Jesenia and he walks MJ out, and she is like kind of stomping out, almost like the body language, she's so frustrated, upset. He's like trying to like put his hand on her hip very awkwardly, but she's walking like 4 steps in front of him. And so he's like reaching out really far to try to like have his arm around her. It's very weird. And MJ is gone.
MJ is gone. He walks her out. She is shocked. And I think she feels like Jesenia took her out. Like Jesenia messed up her chances. But MJ, I love that you didn't really cry, and I love that you look fierce in your power suit dress, and so I'm gonna give MJ props for that. But also maybe learn that from watching the show. Maybe learn that you didn't.
Absolutely, there needs to be some like, if you really think that you're preaching peace and harmony, there needs to be some self-reflection there, because
roll back the tapes.
So, but anyway, when she's in the limo, she's like, oh, I just can't believe this happened. You can kind of tell that she's still in the mindset of like, this is not who I am. How did this happen to me? But she'll
we
she'll go off
actually
and learn that.
Didn't see him give Jesenia the rose. He just walked MJ out. So now we kind of see the girls filing in for the cocktail party, and they're like, who did he give it to? Did they give it to anyone? The plate's like there. They're like, the plate's still here with no rose. And I'm like, a PA put that there. It means nothing. But then Jesenia does walk in with the rose. So ultimately she's still around. Yeah,
she's there. And, they're all kind of like, oh, okay. There's like a little bit of like excitement in the air. And she sits down. She's like, feels good, guys. I'm not going to lie. It feels good to be here.
I did that.
Yeah. But that is like quickly wiped away, because Chris comes in and he's like, listen, y'all have exhausted Matt, and so there's no cocktail party. And then so it goes from like, congrats Jesenia, to like, well, thanks a lot Jesenia, you stole all of our time, because there were a number of girls who felt like they needed a conversation with Matt before the rose ceremony.
And then quickly though, it's thanks a lot Katie. This is all Katie's fault, apparently, according to Serena C. Katie is the one who has taken all of the time away from Serena. And she just kind of goes in on Katie, and Katie is just as confused as I am at this point.
I have conflicting opinions about Serena C because they're like, I went on a journey with Serena C in this episode because I've enjoyed her. Like, I enjoyed her when she was like, you're getting upset. Like, I think she's kind of, I think she's one of those people who is like kind of funny mean, but towards the end of this episode, it wasn't funny anymore. And like here, it just kind of felt like, wait, why are we attacking Katie? Like, Katie kind of did all of you a favor by getting Victoria out of the house, you know, like calling her out for her really toxic behavior. Right. And now all of a sudden we're blaming her for this canceled rose ceremony. That is not where the problem lies. The problem lies in the behavior that Katie was reporting to Matt, you know, like it's a problem.
Well, I think you only think it's a problem when you were adjacent to that. Like Serena says something about like, you know, he just didn't need to know about the bullying or the toxicity in the house. And it's like, because you were a part of it.
Yes.
Then. If like, you weren't a part of it, you think he should know, you know?
Yeah. I just couldn't believe that she was saying like, I feel like we'd be better off if we just had never brought up the bullying in the first place. It's like, don't say that. Even if you think it, don't say that. That is not a good look.
It's not. And ultimately, if Matt wants to see you, Serena, he'll come find you.
He'll see you. Yeah. So, you know, we don't need to talk about Katie being the root of the problem. And Katie kind of just like waves her off. She's like, I don't know what you're mad at me for, but you've got your own problems. But trust me, it has nothing to do with me.
We just lost 3 girls because of all of this. So there's less girls to compete with. This is an upside, y'all.
Right. Yeah.
No? Okay. Let's skip to the rose ceremony, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Ryan, I think, is the most upset going into this rose ceremony. She, I think, cried through the whole thing. And these were tears. I saw tears on the face and lots of tears in the confessional. She's screaming outside with Michelle. She's very frustrated. Again, Sarah, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but the level of investment that these people have is wildly disproportionate to how well she knows Matt. So I was just like, does she think that this was going to like boost her career in some way? And so she's bummed that she's not getting the exposure because like, you can't be that upset that you didn't get a chance to go on a date with a man you've barely met.
I know. Well, I give Ryan just a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because she is one of the new girls. So that means she sat in quarantine longer.
Yeah.
Hello. That'll make you go loopy. And then she got one group date with him.
Yeah.
So she does need like FaceTime with him because like otherwise he's like, which one's Ryan? I don't know. She just got here. So I was like, okay, of all the people, okay, maybe you can cry, but boy, she was like over the top upset.
Real upset.
Real upset.
Again, I will say like there were people that went home that I was kind of surprised that they're going home at this point. Like his choices are kind of throwing me a little bit. This did not go the way that I thought it would. I mean, at the top, we get Serena P getting a rose, Michelle getting a rose. These are expected, right? Like he's made connections with these women.
I feel like Michelle should have gotten that first rose. I don't like that he likes Serena P. They don't have a connection. I don't understand.
I know.
I'm confused.
It's a friend zone.
It is. Piper, sure. Brittany, yeah. Chelsea.
Not Brittany.
Sorry, I wrote down Brittany. Who would that have been?
I don't know. I stopped after. Yeah, but it's not Brittany.
Okay. Anyway, Chelsea, I was excited about because I wasn't sure about her.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 I knew were coming or staying, getting roses because we had it in the preview that there was going to be more of a fight. So
I know.
Not really on my edge of the seat here. I know that Katie and Serena are going to make it.
Right. They're like building all this drama about Katie and Serena C getting the last 2 roses. And it's like, well, you blew that with the promo.
You had that in the promo.
Okay.
Although my sister, who I watched this with, I guess missed it because she was like, Serena's not going to get it. It's going to be like, I don't know who she was naming. And I was like, no, Serena gets it. Like, we already know Serena's getting it.
There's footage we've seen of Serena that has not aired yet. So so she gets the final rose. And I'm not shocked because I know that Serena C gets a rose because we saw the promo. Like I'm in the same boat as you, but I am shocked because I thought that Brittany had made more of an impact with Matt than Serena C had. Serena C has kind of been a non-factor for most of the season. But I guess, and Brittany has had like a couple of more intense conversations with Matt. But I guess Matt had these interactions with Brittany and it was enough for him to be like, not interested. And he sent her home.
Yeah, I thought he had something with Brittany as well. But I guess they didn't show us what they didn't. I don't know. It's confusing with Matt because he looks like he's into everyone he talks to. I mean, other than Victoria. That was the only one we could really tell. But like, he's always like, this is the one when he's like sitting with them. I feel like. But I was so sad to see Maggie go. David.
I know. I was so sad. But I have to imagine that she like leaned in and whispered, thank you so much. You can't dance. Good luck to you. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, like, we heard her say like, oh, it was so nice to meet you, whatever. But like, I have to imagine she was like, yeah, I was on my way out anyway. Cause like, she never seemed that interested.
Who were the girls that already had roses? I'm trying to go back to my, okay. Cause now we can ask this question. It wasn't Michelle. It was Abigail and Rachel, obviously. Abigail got the group date rose last week.
Okay.
And Kit.
Yes. And Jesenia had one from the 2-on-1 moment with MJ.
Okay. Just clarifying. Michelle did get one in the ceremony here.
Yes.
And then poor Ryan, cry. She's gone. So that's who we lose right here. Maggie, Ryan, and Brittany.
Yeah. And then Matt gives us a great toast. Did you notice this? He goes, to love. Because I'm sure that's all Matt can muster.
He is spent. Okay. Girls, be dramatic. And he needs to go home and go to sleep.
Yeah, he's tired. He's like, can we get this over with, please? I don't want to be around you.
Yeah. Okay, next day. We're all recovering and we're ready for date cards. And the first one that comes is a one-on-one for Piper.
Piper. Okay, we knew this was happening because we saw the promo. But this is one where she, I think, needed it for her sanity because she was like just really upset every time a one-on-one date card and she was not on it. And so it's kind of, there's like a select few women now who I think based on the edit are like justifiably frustrated that they don't have a one-on-one. It was Piper, it was Abigail, and it was Chelsea for me. Like, I think those three are people I'm like, why haven't they gotten one-on-one time yet? It feels like he's into them, So Piper is now getting her moment. But I honestly would have probably put Chelsea or Abigail in front of her.
Abigail.
Yeah.
A one-on-one. Yes. Like, I am serious. Last week I was like, if she doesn't get one this week, and then boom, guess what? She did not get one this week. I don't understand what's happening. And if she doesn't get one and he lets her go, I'm gonna be really upset about that.
I know.
I feel like he's leading all of us on right now.
I agree. Yeah. It starts to feel like, well, what was the motivation for giving her the first impression rose if you weren't actually into, you know what I mean? Like, she deserves it. And she's so in her head about it because she's feeling the same way we are. She's like, why did I get that? And then I'm just here waiting. Like, I've got my hopes up for what?
And he did give her another group date rose. Like, he's given her a couple little nuggets here. So it's like, get a gosh darn one-on-one. Piper, back to what you were saying. Piper, I feel like, is on the edge of like, she's going to lose her mind. She's real close to losing her mind. And so this one-on-one, really saved her from losing her mind yet. And in this moment, we see Serena annoying.
Yeah, because she's just having to continue to wait for her time. And she has not forgotten that last night she didn't get time because of Katie. So she's storming through the hallways of this mansion. And she like knocks on Katie's door and pushes the door open. And she's like, Katie, we got to talk.
Okay, once again, it's all Katie's fault because she chooses who Matt hangs out with. What? Right. This makes no sense. And it's so funny because like Serena like goes in on Katie and Katie's like, I thought you were coming to apologize. Like, what is this?
Yeah, no, she's very much immediately like, take it up with Matt. This is not my problem. Like, you're upset that you haven't gotten time with him. That has nothing to do with me. Like, but Katie is lit immediately. Like, she's kind of like, I'm not listening to any more of this. Like, you think I'm just going to let bullies be bullies in the house? Then you have me wrong. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I did the right thing. And you're not going to make me feel sorry for it. I mean, I do still love Serena's line of like, you are the arsonist. There's all these little fires. I wish it had been used on someone like Victoria who actually deserved it. But that is a great line. But that Katie's just like, no, Serena, you're not getting me.
You know what's a better line, David? Thank you for your feedback.
It's this though. It's that. Sort of like, I'm serving you up a thank you for your feedback and I'm walking away.
This was what I love. I mean, thank you for your feedback. Fantastic. But when you go to storm out, everyone go with your line, whatever your last thing is, go. Thank you for your feedback and just get the heck out of there.
Yes. Oh, it really sort of punctuates it. You know, it really puts a period on that argument. Like, this is the end of the discussion.
Yep. Yeah. And scene. Woo! So good. So good. Yeah. I mean, they both have valid. Katie's just tired of it. She's just not going to do it anymore. And Serena's got to vent her frustration to someone, I guess. And she's decided that it's Katie's fault. Yeah. The rest of the house can hear them. They're that loud. Serena goes downstairs and like continues that. And so she's like telling everyone, and Katie just walks in and she is like, continue. Oh, wait, no, these are all lies.
Yeah. She's like, you don't have to whisper. I'm right here. And stop speaking for me because you're doing a terrible job. It's just kind of more of the same. It's just like getting more and more inflamed. You know, I'm impressed at Serena's ability to stay calm. You know, she didn't yell. Yeah. She's not getting fired up. But I do think that she's kind of on the wrong side here. Like, this is not Katie's fault. And Katie did the right thing by letting Matt know that there was all this toxicity in the house. I think she maybe should have let him know about you, frankly, Serena C. And like, I really was your cheerleader before this episode, but this one kind of turned things around for me.
Yeah. Serena's calmness doesn't impress me because is there a name for this? It's the Kardashian thing where there's nothing going on behind your eyes. And so even though you're saying the meanest things, there's just literally nothing happening behind your face. And like, that scares me. I don't understand. Like, you look dead inside, but you're saying like pointed things.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what that condition is called because
for sure.
We're inundated with it.
Yeah. But before the fight, you know, gets totally out of hand, we are interrupted by Heather at the gate. And Chris Harrison comes and puts on that acting hat again. And he says, "Oh, Heather?
David. Oh,
Heather, is that you?"
Yeah. He's like halfway up the hill with that charade. But first, the acting starts with Heather at the guard gate because the guard, who is now mic'd up. Hello, has the guard ever been mic'd up before? Heather is mic'd up, and we hear her go, "I'm here, Chris." And he's like, we're locked down. No one can enter. There's a show, like whatever. He comes up with some line of like, "We're shooting here. You can't come in." And she's like, "But can I come in?" And he's like, "Let me see. I'll make a call." And I'm like, you guys were mic'd up. Okay.
Yes. Right.
Then she's yelling at Chris.
Yeah. She's like, "Chris, oh my God." And he's like, "You're going to ruin this whole thing. What are you doing here?" It's like, Chris, you called her and invited her. Like, this is all you don't have to do this.
It was a Zoom meeting, and Chris, you were like, "Heather, come on down," but we do have to do all of this apparently. Yeah. Heather's story is that her good friend Hannah Brown met Matt and came back to her and was like, "Oh my God, Matt is perfect for you." And instead of going through any normal channels, like, "I got his phone number for you, here's his email," they were like, "You obviously should go on The Bachelor and crash it."
Yep, crash it. And the producers said, yes, we would love to have this be a storyline this season.
Love it.
So, but you have to go up and do this thing with Chris. And then he's going to say, I can't approve it myself. I've got to run it up the chain. But you go back to your hotel because we've already worked out that you're going to quarantine. And as long as you get the negative test, you're on the show.
Yeah. So basically, she's gonna pretend to go to quarantine right now while Chris figures out if we can even have you on the show.
Right. Yes.
That's the storyline there, and now we get to see Piper and Matt.
Yeah. So they go on a car ride. It's like an late evening date. It's very dark. They're driving through the woods. It's creepy. You know, he parks and they're seemingly in the middle of nowhere. He says, do you trust me again? And no, Matt, I don't, because the last time you said, do you trust me? You flipped an ATV with Bree on the back of it. So no, I don't trust you. Piper, be careful. But she just has to flip a switch. And there's an entire carnival in the middle of the woods. I guess that Ferris wheel for Tayshia was like the test run, because now they've got every ride you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. They were like, we like this. This works. Let's do a whole carnival.
Yeah.
Set it up. Yeah, I was a little spooked I was like, this is too dark. What are we doing? What is this? And then it's a carnival. Okay, that's fun. That's a typical date. I can get on board with this. That's fine. Yeah. We're doing little games. She wins a stuffed animal. You know, if I hit this, well, you kiss me, you know, great.
Yeah. As if they need an excuse to kiss. Yeah. They're having a blast at the carnival. In the middle of the carnival, we get a group date card. Yeah. And this one is going to determine who gets the other one-on-one for the week. Yes. And they read through all the names, and the last two names.
Abigail.
Yeah. Oh, please. No. Abigail's on the group date. And her face is appropriate for that. Yeah. She's like, okay, again.
As is Serena. As is everyone except our girl Katie is left out. And you're like, what? Yeah. We love Katie. She gets a one-on-one. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think, though, Sarah, of what you said last week about, you know, it feels like it's about the time for someone to go on a one-on-one and be sent home.
It felt like that last week. You know what? Last week, though, I was like, you know what? Maybe Matt just isn't. Because again, when I see him in the moment with these girls, he looks really into them. And like after the Kit date, I was like, I don't think he's capable of sitting one-on-one with a girl and being like, no, this isn't working. I think he has to step away and look at them as a whole to be like, nah, to these girls. Yeah. So I thought, no, Katie's good.
Yeah. Well, bless your heart, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
Then we get a little bit, before we, go to the dinner portion of Piper's date, we get a little bit of Heather in her hotel room. And this is going to be like a recurring little runner throughout the episode, just checking in on her. Oh, I'm just by myself in quarantine and I got one negative COVID test and like, hopefully I can see Matt soon. And it's like, we all know you're going to, but okay, great. Let's check in with
so I don't know Heather. You guys have given me a little bit of details. Never been kissed. Heather is what their internet's calling her. But what I learned from her quarantine videos is like, she might not be my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, these did not.
Special person.
Yeah, it just wasn't, I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching these things and I'm like, I don't care about you balancing pizza on your head. I don't care about you going crazy and shouting out the window for Matt. Like you're not like an engaging personality to me. So I'm just like,
he's not, unfortunately. Okay. And David, she's like 25. She's already done what's his name season, Colton's season, and A Bachelor in Paradise. This is her third franchise and she's only 25.
Yeah. And she's still acting like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little like, it feels really young. Like she still feels
really young.
21, but you're 25 now. Like, have you progressed emotionally at all since your first season? I'm just not sure. But she's having fun. She's by herself. She's filming herself. She's hamming it up for the camera. I just don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
We get to the dinner portion of Piper's date. And I don't know. I'm starting to come around on her. What do you think?
She's super cute.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems with her. Just the fact that I think she's really on edge. But she's very cute, and she doesn't have a ton to her story, although she does mention that her family never says I love you. And that like sent me and my sister on this whole long conversation about like we can't even fathom families who don't say I love you. Like we say I love you every 5 minutes within our family. And I just can't imagine. Like, I mean, she's talking about how difficult it was. And I'm thinking, yeah, I bet it is difficult.
You know, I found this relatable because one of the big things that I always say, like when I'm imagining, like if I were ever on this show, I'm too old to be on this show at this point, but in my day, right? Absolutely would fail, would go home because they always say, I'm looking for someone who's really close with their family. And not that I'm not close with my family. I'm not estranged from my family by any means, but I'm not the kind of close they're talking about on this show. And for me, when Piper's talking about like, there's just kind of a lack of verbal affection in my family, I'm like, oh, I kind of get that because like I have to think like make sure you say I love you before you hang up the phone. And it's just not something we like always say. My parents always say it when they're on the phone with me, but it's definitely not every 5 minutes, and we don't say it all the time. But it's like I love you is always a part of the goodbye, so that we've always said it when we say goodbye, you know. But I was like,
but at least
I get this
with a goodbye.
Yeah, true.
Can you imagine if it was never said?
Never. Yeah, that is tough. But I just was like, finally, someone who's got isn't that like stereotypical close with their family, like representation, you know, like there's someone on the show who isn't that close with her family.
Well, I agree. I'm the same way. Like if I was there for hometowns, it'd be like my sister and my mom's not even my sister's mom. Like it's not... You know, it wouldn't actually be my family. It would be like just two people I'm related to. Like I get
right.
It's not traditional around these parts, y'all.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But, you know, Matt is inviting her to like, well, please be vulnerable with me. I would like to show you that I can be there for you in that way. And then here we are again. That's enough for her to say, I'm falling in love with you, Matt. And I'm like, this is the new normal.
She doesn't say that. She says falling for you.
Oh, she didn't say falling in love?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay.
She
Thank
said,
God.
I'm falling for you. And in my head, I was like, oh, not good enough. But he doesn't say it back.
I noticed that too. And I'm like, he has said it back to other people, specifically Rachel. So
yes. And with Rachel, the word love was included. So Rachel's still the winner here, y'all.
Yep. Rachel's still in the front, but Piper does get a rose, and then they go outside and he's got a surprise for her. It's Temecula Road. And ever heard of him, Sarah?
No, but Temecula is a town in California.
Yeah. If he was like, oh, I got a surprise, I'm going to take you to Temecula Road, I'd be like, what's on Temecula Road?
Yeah. I'd be like, I haven't been to that area. I don't really know.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
Are we going to a winery or?
Do they have a brewery over there?
Okay. Yeah, right.
Don't know them. And honestly, I don't like it when the people start singing and then we have to like sway together.
It's embarrassing.
This is when I start to tune out a little bit.
Right. And then you continue tuning out through Heather balancing the pizza on her head, and we go to the group date. Where Matt's in a bowling shirt. He's in an embarrassing outfit, but it's for a reason this time. It's themed for the activity.
Guess what, David? I didn't tune out of this date.
Yeah, Sarah loves bowling, you guys.
You know I love bowling.
I enjoy bowling as an activity.
You're not a fan of watching it on television.
I'm not. Well, there was that one Survivor challenge where I didn't love it, but I thought this was pretty fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I enjoyed this date.
I mean, at first they walk into a bowling alley and there's like wings and it's like fun. And people can like be silly. And then it turned into more of a competition.
Yeah, right. Well, Chris comes in and he's like, you know, Matt thought, let's just go on a date and have fun. And we had to step in and say, no, we're making it into a competition. Yeah. And you're going to wear the pink shirts and the blue shirts. And half of you, excuse me, are going to get more time. And this just adds to that tension of all of these women feeling like, I never get any time with Matt. And now I have to win a stupid bowling game in order to get more time with Matt. What is going on?
Now, David, what is your opinion? Because I was like, yeah, get them, make them bowl for this. Or are you more of the like, let them all get the time?
Well, I'm more of the like talk show format of games where like it's a competition, but then at the end everybody wins, right? And it's like, oh, don't be silly. Like you're all going on the date later. Like, I do kind of feel like it sucks to go on this date where you're doing a silly activity. And then because the cocktail portion of the date is always where you get the time to actually have a meaningful conversation. So to like take that away, I'm like, man, but I understand why you're that way, Sarah. You're a competitive bowler.
Yes. Well, I think I'm competitive in general. I just want to turn it into a game. But I do like bowling. So I was like, I could cream these girls at this bowling. Did you notice, though, when they first walked into the bowling alley, Kit looked at the balls like she was like, had never seen these things before.
She's like, those holes are for my fingers?
What do I do with this? What? Does it go down here? And then it comes back to me?
And why are they different colors? Does that mean something?
Yeah. She was like, I don't think she's ever entered a bowling alley before, ever.
Yeah, right.
And they kind of make it dramatic. That's like a close game. The pink team's in the lead, then the blue team's like coming up.
Yeah, right. I mean, I 10,000% believe that it was a 3-point game at the end of this. Like, no, but okay, we're like engineering drama at the end of this. But it was like, it was funny to me how they edited this, because at the beginning of the date, when they're all just having fun, we saw a lot of gutter balls, right? And then all of a sudden, when it's competition mode, it's like strike after strike after strike. And I'm like, when did they all get excellent at bowling?
Yeah. Well, they just had to warm up, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, there was some really good ones. And then who was it? Was it Abigail at the very end who seemingly has the losing one? Yeah. And as soon as I saw her form, I was like, oh no, it's not. It's going to go in the gutter, Abigail. So at this point, we see the pink team win. Yeah. We see them excited. We see the blue team upset. Yeah. And I don't feel bad for the blue team.
I do, because Abigail's on the blue team, and she's been one of the ones who's upset about not getting time. We've got Michelle, Jesenia, Chelsea, and Serena P, who are on the winning team. So I'm happy for Chelsea, because she's one of those women who's like, I need time. I want to solidify this relationship. And I'm like, you deserve it, because it feels like there might actually be something there. So I'm happy for her. But Kit, I love her line. Would she like... He toasts with the winners, gives them the trophy. They're heading off, and then he's heading over to like say goodbye to them. And she's like, is this really what you want in a wife, a bowler? And it's kind of like, are you for real here? Yeah. That you're determining who gets extra time with you based on our bowling scores? I loved her. Right, which is
ultimately a very good point. But it was very cutesy the way she did it, and like grabbed his hands, and like points for Kit overall. But look, Kit's fine. She just had a one-on-one with him. Rachel's fine. She just had a one-on-one with him. And Bree, although it's been a while, I think she's okay in his book. So the fact that Serena was on this team and lost, I was like, cool. And then I only felt bad for Abigail. She is the only one.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have to feel bad for her for too long, because they go back to the mansion. They're all bummed. Abigail's like extra emotional, and Chris quickly delivers a surprise card for them, and they figure out that they get to crash the date. Matt actually wants time with them. He just didn't have the heart to truly eliminate them.
He was like, you know what, Kit? Good point.
Yeah. Right.
So they're really just ultimately a little bit late. They're fine. They're there.
But we don't see anything from them, right? Like we saw kissy one-on-one time with Michelle. Then these other 5 women show up, and then we see one-on-one time with Jesenia, Serena, and Chelsea, who were on the winning team. Like we didn't see any one-on-one times with I'm sure they got them, but they were not on camera.
I wanted to be all like, haha, he didn't even talk to you, Serena C, but like we didn't really see him talk to anybody, so I don't know.
Right.
At all. Yeah.
But Michelle gets the rose because I think he's really into her.
Because he likes Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did say something about Serena P and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So that's good for them.
And
none of that was to Serena C. Just keeping record here.
Yeah. But we've talked about like he says something about everyone and then they put in the edit.
Oh, what? David, I'm keeping track of this stuff. He says something about everyone?
My hunch is that he goes around the horn and says something nice about everybody, and then he hands out the group date.
Oh my gosh, that's annoying. No, I'm like, ooh, you like Serena P and Chelsea. I mean, he probably does because they put it in the edit. Right. But now that would take forever to go around.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
It's bursted. Straight bursted.
Oh, yes. Well, now we get Heather going crazy in the hotel, screaming out the window for Matt. Great. And we move on to a one-on-one with Tyler's best friend, Tyler C. Or Matt's best friend, Tyler C.
A one-on-one with Tyler? Yes, that is what happens here. He's supposed to have a one-on-one with Katie. But first, he's going to meet up with Tyler. And they're going to chit-chat while they play some pool. This is my first introduction to Tyler. I don't know him. But apparently the ladies love him.
Ladies love Tyler. Yes. Yeah. What was your impression of him? Like, I really liked him on Hannah Brown's season. So I was like happy to see him back. But were you just kind of like, oh, it's a dude?
Yeah. They don't give us anything in this moment. So there was nothing for me to learn. Like it's two bros. And it's just nice that we know they're actually friends. Cause usually this is when like my friend showed up, this girl that was on that other season. And you're like, oh, we're really friends. So it was nice to know that they're actually friends, but they're not saying anything of value. Tyler's like, yeah, cool. Go hang out with that girl you're going to have a date with, He
literally says, like, he gives my least favorite advice, which is just be you. Like, that's what you say when you have no advice to give a person. You're like, I don't know, just be yourself. It's like, okay, thanks. That's not helpful. Like, I know
not at all.
To be myself. The thing that I took away from it, Matt says that Katie had a cactus-sized vibrator when she showed up.
Yeah, and he did add in the cactus part.
That is a troubling comparison to me, just based on what I know vibrators do. I'm like, why are we comparing it to a cactus? There's got to be something else. No, that does not feel pleasant.
That's so funny. I didn't even put that together. I just thought, no, it wasn't that big. Like cactus are large, and it was just a vibrator. It was like a normal size vibrator. And why it didn't even dawn on me that cactus are prickly and uncomfortable, and in no way a good comparison.
No.
Oh, that was good, David. That was great. Okay, he did say that. And that was it. He's just like, cool, I'm going to go on a date with Katie. Like, we don't really get anything valuable here. But the introduction of Tyler leads us to the fact that Tyler's going to be a part of this date. So he picks up, or Katie meets him at the spa. And poor Katie's like, ooh, we're at a spa? How wonderful. What a great date. And he's like, well, actually, so
the thing is,
my buddy is going to get the treatment, but it's with an actor and we're going to be in his ears and we're going to prank him. And you know what? That's cute. That's cute for Katie.
She's
definitely the one who's funny out of this group. This is fun for her. But yes, Natalie, it is the kiss of death.
Yeah, because it feels
the
like
same treatment Easy got.
Yes, it's like, I'm here to have fun with my buddy and you're along for the ride. You're going to help me have fun with my best friend here. Right. And you're right. Like Katie is the right person for this date because she's funny. She's actually funny. So like she dives in and like probably has her own ideas about like, let's tell the masseuse to do this, like she's ready to like get in there and take charge because she's certainly funnier than Matt is,
100%. Yeah, she is doing well. She's having fun. Great. I'm happy for them in this moment. But yeah, nothing says friend zone more than like, come help me prank my best friend.
Yeah, right. They're like lolling about like tweak his nipples, and it's not romantic whatsoever. And then they go in after they've seen this woman do enough, and the woman like takes the phone call about like, oh, I'm massaging Tyler C from Hannah B. C, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They go in. Matt puts way too much lube on his hands, way too much massage oil. Did you see that? It was so much. And then it's like a dream come true for him to put his hands on Tyler's back. He can't wait to get in there and massage those muscular shoulders. And then Tyler like looks up and sees him, and he falls on top of Tyler, and he's just loving being on top of his best friend, Who's Katie? I don't know where Katie is. I'm here with the love of my life, Tyler.
Katie is back in the corner, not even close to these two dudes who are very much having fun together. Right. She is just laughing way far away and not involved at all. It was hilarious. There was something about the angle of Matt's hands coming in, and I was like,
yeah. So no wonder Tyler was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Not good signs for Katie, but hilarious for the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Laugh, prank. And now we're going to go have a nighttime part of this date, or do we have something?
Yeah, no, we go straight into the evening portion. Where she's kind of talking about like, this date was so great because I feel like playfulness has been lacking in my, previous relationships. And I'm just looking to find someone who knows who they are. We can grow together. She's honestly giving a very clear-eyed picture of what she wants, but what she's lacking is trauma, Sarah. There's no trauma in this story.
That's true. And she alluded to some exes and stuff. Maybe she should have dove deeper into what really went wrong and made that a little bit more dramatic. Mm-hmm. But she's saying, this is what you do. You get your opportunity for a one-on-one. You've been waiting for this. And now you have to spill your guts, and you have to make him feel like you love him so much. And she says some wonderful things about like, my love story is your love story. She's just like spilling it. And I absolutely hate that it's a complete setup. Because that's your job on this. You get your one-on-one, you have to sell yourself, and he has to wait for you to do that. And then he has to tell you it's friend zone.
It's a no. Yeah. But we get a giant red flag as the audience, right? Because they cut into the dinner and they go to the mansion, and it's Brie and Michelle sitting on the couch talking about Katie. And it's like, that didn't happen on Piper's date. There was no conversation about like, do we think Piper's going to get a rose? Like, this is just like an editing trick that has become very obvious. And so as soon as there's like conversation about Katie maybe won't get a rose, you're like, okay, she's going home. This is not good.
Yeah. And also she's like saying lovey stuff to him, and his face is that. And that was not his face with the other girls. The other girls, he's like trying to kiss them and telling them to shut up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. He's like licking his lips. Like, as soon as you get to a period, we are making out.
Take a breath.
But he's just kind of like dead face listening to her. And so, he says nice things to her. And then he takes a very dramatic pause and says, but, and that's the end for her. That's like dagger through the heart at that point. And he's just basically like, I actually like other girls and I don't like you. Like, he says like other relationships have progressed further, but the reality is he's like, I like the other girls and I don't like you, and you are.
He's like, I don't want to make out with you right now, and I want to make out with all the other ones. Why did he pick up the rose, David? Why?
They have to. That builds that drama.
No, they don't. They don't always.
Do they not?
Sometimes we just look at it. Sometimes we look at it. It's there. It's like a third person on the date, it's like there.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you go, but you know what?
Can't do it.
It's progressed with other girls instead of you. When he picked up that rose, her face lit up. And mine did too, because I was like, oh, they're tricking us with the editing. He picked up the rose. And then he broke my heart along with Katie's, even though from the get-go I knew he wasn't going to be with Katie, but like he strung me along.
Yeah. And then the girls at the mansion see her bag get rolled away, and they were not sad, Sarah.
No, they weren't.
They were not sad.
They're like, oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. Katie's gone, y'all.
They did cut to some shots of people like with their hands over their face, but the body language was like, oh my God, Katie's gone. Like it was that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm devastated that Katie's gone. Like it was an excitement there.
It was.
So I feel like she was not popular in the house, even though we all think she did the right thing.
She's the best girl in that house. The rest of them are mean girls, and they can't handle someone who is confident and secure in themselves.
Okay, well, let's talk about these girls being mean girls, because this is when it gets disgusting all over again. I gotta say, Heather's in a wedding dress, and I'm like, she probably thinks that she's walking to get married right now.
Yeah. She's like, I know the season already started. Should I just go ahead and put my wedding dress on?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to walk up and he'll just propose. Is that what we're going to do?
Did you also get a little bit of a vibe from the music of, it was like a movie thriller. Like, it was like the woman who's maybe a screw loose and she's in a wedding dress and she's stalking a man that she's in love with. I was like, no, don't do this to Heather. Like when she hasn't even gone into the mansion yet.
That's their job, to roast all of these girls. Yeah, she is in, we see her driving there. Yeah, she's in a wedding dress. Kit's dress, fantastic, love it, gonna get it, looked it up, Cynthia Rowley. Oh my God, David.
Oh, what?
I just discovered last night that my pillow is a Cynthia Rowley pillow.
What?
How long did it take
me
to figure this out?
Which pillow is it? Yes.
It's just one of my throw pillows.
Oh my gosh.
Literally
that
just
is amazing.
sitting last night, I was like, the tag. Okay. I was so excited. Yes. Douglas was like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's Cynthia Rowley.
You're like, I have a cosmic connection with Kit. I knew it.
And I are like sisters now. And I'm buying that gold dress. Thank you very much, Kit. Okay.
No, yeah. And Kit was also in the mansion, you know, like you said, looking fabulous and talking about, I am so happy that we're all going to get a good amount of time with Matt. Like, the producers are doing such a great job here of like setting up the drama, because little do they know that Heather's like driving to the mansion as they speak.
Right. Everything feels so much better now. Like less girls. Like we love our group. This is it. We're gonna spend all the time with Matt.
Yeah.
Well, Piper's sitting with Matt. Girls are chatting. Heather's trying to get in. Eventually, the door opens.
It was too good. And like Bree's like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Nope.
Heather's just trying to shove that rotating door through, and she finally gets through. It's not the most graceful entrance we've ever seen.
It's not.
And then she is smiling. Everybody's like, who is that? And she just kind of like smiles and walks away. You know, she just walks by without saying a word to anybody.
He's like, I'm here.
Yeah. And like you say, Piper is with him. She comes in and Matt is like, oh, Heather. Oh, big reaction from Matt.
Big reaction.
And Piper's like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, Piper, could you just give me a few minutes? It's like Piper is like being set off on another tailspin, you know?
Yes. Okay. Before we get to Piper's mental breakdown here, what is Matt's reaction? Matt is like doubled over laughing. Yeah. And Heather's like, hey. And he's like, hey. Like he knows her, but he doesn't say her name, Heather.
Yes. And Heather also says, nice to meet you. So it's like he knows of her, but they've never met.
So yeah, I was trying to figure out, do you think like Hannah showed him a picture one time, or he just saw pictures of her in groups with Tyler, like he's just aware of her? Or did the producers say like, a girl is coming in that you might know? I don't know.
Yeah, it may be like, you know, I think he probably is friendly with Hannah Brown. Hannah Brown knows him, so he probably follows Hannah on Instagram. Maybe he's like seen her in photos. You know, it's like just probably one of those things where it's like, oh God, I know your face and you're here. Right. And like, how much crazier can this season get? Like, when are women going to stop coming?
Right. But also like, so Piper leaves, and then the next shot back in this room, they're sitting together, and he's got his hand on her knee in that classic Bachelor style, because they both kind of have like cheat out to the cameras, but we're touching each other. So it's like he automatically knows she's there to be considered as one of the girls. Because if I saw someone come in, I'd be like, oh, sure, let's talk. Are you telling me something? Like, I'm not assuming you're now one of my,
well, but Sarah,
dates.
look at what she's wearing. Like, she's in that gown. He's probably like, okay, so.
Oh, yeah, right. We're
you're
supposed to
in
be married
this.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Busy, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you, Busy.
Heather for the Dylan. I don't know Heather, so
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know about just that. Learning.
But Piper is tearing through that lobby, and she needs answers, right? She's like, what is going on? And this is the moment when all of those girls click right back into mean girl mode of there's a new person here, we need to attack because she is not welcome. And like pretty much everybody is going off. We do not see Michelle go off. I'm sure she's not going off, but all of these original girls are right back to where we started with this, like, who even is she? Like, you're not Jesenia. Jesenia was like, you need to go home. People who were like fighting against the bullies are now the bullies.
Yeah, well, hello. They were already bullies. They were already mean girls. This has got to be one of the most mean girl casts ever, because like it's just consistent. It's constant. Like literally, this is one girl. Calm down, everybody. Take a breath. It's so far in the game. You've established a relationship with Matt. Like you're gonna be okay. Let it just play out. But in the next preview, we see Matt and Heather's already crying. And she's like, why are these girls so mean? She legitimately is saying, why are they so mean?
Yeah. I mean, Serena C is like a problem here. Like in this episode, she says, I don't even know this girl and I already don't like her. And I'm like, how can you speak those words and not hear yourself? And what has been going on? Like, you're the one who thought we shouldn't have brought up bullying. And now you're saying that you don't know someone and you already don't like them. And then she continues to say negative things about Heather in the preview. Even Serena P, who's been like really sweet, is like, I will be rageful if she gets a rose. And I'm like, you're all trash. Like, you can all go except for Abigail. We do not see Abigail say anything. So Abigail and Michelle can stay because I haven't seen anything negative from them. Everybody else, I'm over it.
Yes, I agreed. Like they all seem rageful. They all seem like they have anger management issues. Like the fact that you can go from chilling on a couch to I'm going to like lose my mind and be rageful because a girl walked into a reality show.
Yes.
Okay,
y'all need to take a chill pill. Like even Kit next episode is like calling somebody a bitch. And I'm like, what is going on? Why did you all go immediately back to this place? You need to like do some reflection here.
Yes, seriously. It is mind blowing that that's where we head. But so that's where we ended here. Heather is, just saying hey to Matt. We don't get far into that. And that's it.
Yeah, it's not going to be a pleasant experience for her. But bye, Katie. Bye, Maggie. I'll miss you. I really hope you find love, even though we didn't get to see really anything from you. But I love you.
I know. But you're adorable. Yeah.
Yeah. Brittany and Ryan. Those are our 4 who went home this episode.
Yeah. I think Heather's just here for some comedy, some like amping up the stakes. Like it's really far along. I don't think he's going to keep her for long. He might politely keep her just this one time. But it's like, no.
Didn't they say in the preview, like 2 weeks away is hometown? So yeah, you're right. It's too far along for him to build anything meaningful enough to go to her hometown.
Right. I mean, who was it that said, what is she just going to walk in here and marry him? Like, that's kind of the joke of like, no, it's too far in. It's not going to go down like that.
Right.
So everyone just remember that you have had a relationship with him. And also if Abigail doesn't get a one-on-one next week,
It's over.
I'm so frustrated.
Yeah, I'll be very upset. And she is right to be upset about this because she's thinking seriously about it. And she's definitely of the mindset of like, I'm supposed to introduce him to my family in 2 weeks, and I haven't even had a one-on-one. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, what they're gonna pull up at her family and be like, "Well, we connected immediately, and then I just really haven't seen him since."
Yeah, and I took her bowling, and that was pretty much it. Hey, nice to meet you.
How many girls go to hometown? What is hometown?
Only 4.
It's 4, right?
Yeah. So there's still a significant number of women who need to go.
Have we seen Rachel be mean and catty?
There was a little bit of like, who is that? But she wasn't the worst of it.
Right. I think I've seen her be like, oh, but like I haven't heard her actually express such rageful things.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're okay with Rachel, Michelle,
Abigail.
Hopefully Abigail. And then is it still Bree, do we think would be the 4th?
Yeah, probably Bree.
Well, Piper seems like she's moving up the list.
Because Bree, I think, had one of the first one-on-ones. She had the first one-on-one. That's not a good position. That's someone who finishes like
you forgot about her by now.
Yeah, right. You're like Piper's kind of surging at the right time. Abigail hopefully will be surging at the right time. Rachel, like this is kind of the middle ground where you really want to start to like push that relationship to the next level. Bree, it happened too early.
That is something that Tyler mentioned. That is something of value that they talked about when he was like, these late burned slow, like slow burned, I think is the phrase he said. So like it took a while, and basically towards the end of the season is when these relationships seem more successful.
Yeah, right. So I think maybe Bree might flame out before the final 4. So
yeah, maybe Piper. Yeah, I think I like that 4. But who was it that we see in the preview? It's Jesenya. Is it Jesenya that gets the one-on-one I think we saw?
Oh, I must have missed that, but maybe.
Well, you know what? It was confusing because in the preview coming up, he was only with girls singly. Like I didn't see him in a group. So it looked like he had a bunch of one-on-ones is what it looks like.
Right.
And does he get more one-on-ones at some point here? Or is it always going to be just like 2 a week?
2. I think at some point when it's down to like it doesn't make sense to have a group date. There are too few people. Like maybe at like 6 or 7, he'll have like 3 or 4 one-on-ones,
Yeah.
But,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, not my favorite episode.
Yeah. No, me neither. I don't like this behavior. It's not cute.
And we lost Katie.
Yeah.
In a setup. I just didn't like the setup. I get it. They're not going to be together. I get it.
Right.
But I'm going to be best friends with her. So
yeah.
Okay. You guys, thank you so much for joining us in the chat.
Yes.
Laughing along with us.
We love it when you join us live. But if you are joining us later, leave us a comment and let us know, what you think of Heather's arrival and her chances for making it this season. Tell us what you thought about that Serena C. Katie fight. Whose side are you on? And what do you think of this toxic behavior generally? We don't love it.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, time change for Amazing Race Australia. James and I will be live at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And then also tomorrow, our patron video goes up over there for Survivor Micronesia. And otherwise, David and I will be back on Monday for Drag Race.
All right. Lots of good stuff coming. So we will see you soon.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Okay, bye.